Welcome to the Boaters Podcast. Today we're hanging out with Alfred Montanier. He's on YouTube. Check out his channel. He's got tons of videos. He does boat shows, boat ramps, all kinds of stuff. You'll love his stuff. But to start off this episode, Alfred, we want to know what was your first boat and then what was your worst experience with that boat so people can get to know you.
Oh, man. So anybody that knows me well knows that I am a fanatic when it comes to rigid inflatables. So my personal boats, what I like are rigid inflatables, hard bottom inflatables. First boat that I actually got with my own money was a small little Boston Whaler 13.
Oh, that's a nice boat.
So
they ride nice.
I got it. I fixed it. Then I was like, all right. But I saw a rib boat. And then I ended up having this experience on a rigid inflatable, and I'm comparing two different types of boats, two different things. And then I was like, wow, I got hooked on rigid inflatables. And then I ended up getting like a small little Carib for like my second boat or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was overpowered by a lot. and since it was overpowered by a lot, it just hauled ass. And then, you know, when you're having the experience on a rigid inflatable, you kind of see how the tubes kind of stabilize a little bit, right? The water, and it's just a little, it's different. It's almost like a different feel. I always say a rib is like a boat with a life vest on.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good analogy. I like that.
So think about it. Like, it's going to float even if you deflate it. Yeah. I've done videos on YouTube deflating them in the middle of the ocean and pretend I'm going to die. Because what happens is people think a rigid inflatable, when you pop the tubes,
if you puncture it with something,
you remove the tubes, it's gonna fail. And that's not the case, because it's still a rigid bottom. It's going to float like a regular boat. So I've had some pretty interesting run-ins when it comes to boats, as some of you guys may know. The Sunferrado series.
Oh, yeah.
That was
probably the worst. I would probably throw that into the worst category of like losing an engine off the back of the boat. That's probably, I would say, the worst.
Well, yeah, and that wasn't even my boat, right? That was that was me doing a sea trial on a boat for a manufacturer that we said, hey, we're going from Palm Beach Boat Show. We're going to take a drive to Fort Lauderdale, where their facility was. So he said, hey, Alfred, let's hop on the boat. And it's funny,
camera and all.
Funny thing is, I see the owner of the company brings his son, and immediately I'm like, oh shoot, there goes. We're not gonna go hard. And I knew it was gonna be a rough day because it was blowing like 25, right?
Wow.
But that particular boat had a suspended console, which it's a shockwave system that it has like Fox shocks. So the actual console is literally coming up and down.
Really?
Incredible stuff.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So you don't feel it on your body, right? So, but then when you're on a lot of boats, like I've been when I've done my sea trials, you know when you're pounding hard, your body's going to feel it, right? If you don't have the right stuff. Well, long story short, we lost an engine hauling ass. It completely came off. On my end, when I was a little kid, one of my first experiences on a boat, my dad had an inboard older boat. I mean, I wouldn't know what it was.
Yeah.
He turned it on, and
and you guys went.
I was just sitting on the lid, and that shit just blew up.
Really?
And we were in what do they call it now? In Key Largo, was it Calusa?
Calusa Cove?
Yes. So we were there. A long story short, I go flying as like a 7-8-year-old from the explosion of the exhaust, because it didn't get vented out, right?
Yeah, the blower wasn't working or whatever.
The blower didn't, right? You know?
And people think that's not a big deal. It's like, that blower's a really big deal.
Listen, and so that's why I always tell people, you know, unless you have these experiences on the water, you're not going to know how to react to them. And you're going to learn all the F-ups you have on the water, which is what makes you say, I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing that. And you learn from the people you're around too. So I think the uncomfortable scenarios for me have always been like if I've ever hit bottom, right? Or you get into an area where you're like, oh shit, this wasn't supposed to be here, or I didn't plan on this being here, and then you're like, you're in a dicey
Next thing you know,
scenario.
you're scraping the bottom. Yeah.
Or you're like, hey, what do you do? Do you lay off? If you lay off, you're gonna
you're gonna sink down even worse.
You're done.
Yeah.
But if you're still skimming the water, you might get through wherever you're at, whatnot. Depending on where you're at. So that's why I always tell people, analyze where you're going first, so that you don't have any issues. Because sometimes you think you know the area, and then there's things that'll be there. You're like, oh shoot, this is.
The charts aren't 100% accurate when you're looking at the.
Well, listen. You see, especially at night, like when I see stuff at night, and I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna be out at night, and I'm leaving during the day. If I see any danger or any areas that I think are a problem with me coming back, I mark it on the GPS.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
That's smart.
If I see something, hey, I know that's not supposed to be here, I'll literally put D, like to remind myself there's danger here. So when I'm coming back, this is where I saw something that wasn't supposed to be there for whatever reason.
Whatever reason. It blew in from a storm, whatever. After storms, that's like the most dangerous time to be out on the water, right? Yeah. Because you don't know what's really going to be there, or what's been moved from. What's been moved in, like here's a giant tree trunk out there that.
I was on Instagram the other day. I saw some guy recording a house in the middle of the ocean. I was like, that's a first.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that.
So yeah, for me, those are moments, and I've had scenarios where I've had people on my boat that I've been captaining the boat. Boat shuts off for a reason. Some dude jumps off of the boat to go into the bathroom. I can't get the boat started.
Oh, no.
Wind's taking him one way. Current's taking him the same way.
Oh,
I'm like,
what is the problem?
It's freaking Father's Day.
Oh no! Was it night?
It was during the day.
At least you can still see him for a little while.
And I've told this story on my channel, and I think I'll do a quick rundown here because I think it's so valuable. One time I was at the Christ in the Keys.
In Key Largo.
Key Largo.
Yeah. Yep.
Diving the Christ. And I had my little girl, my youngest, because I have two daughters, but my youngest, I was holding her, and she was about maybe 4, and we were with my neighbor and all that stuff, and it was kind of rough. But you're young at the time. You're like, I can do this.
Yeah.
So I didn't have fins. I'm holding her up. I got my mask on, my snorkel. Letting her have the moment to see it from up top.
Yeah.
She wants to see it.
Oh yeah. At 4 years, she's still big enough to be like, oh, I want to, let me see.
She had her little life vest on.
Yep.
But the rollers were coming up, and they were coming up over her. So I was trying to hold her up.
Yep.
All of a sudden, I'm getting gassed up, and I can't get to the boat. So I tell my neighbor, I was like, hey, Ozzy, I need you to help me get to the boat real quick. And there was a lot of current. The current was pushing us away from the boat. Well, long story short, he had fins, I didn't, and he gave me one of his fins. Okay,
I've never tried to swim with one fin.
Well, here's the thing. That's why I'm telling you this, right? So he had one fin on his left foot, and I had one on my right foot. He told me to put it on my right foot.
Yeah.
Right? So all of a sudden, he goes, "We're gonna just swim in sync."
Okay.
So we were like that, and we were in sync, swimming with the baby to the boat, dropped off the baby, and then I realized, I was like, "Oh man."
That's really smart.
That's a very, very useful technique.
Yeah.
God forbid I'm in a scenario.
Yeah. Didn't even think about that. That was completely.
So.
Never thought about that.
Father's Day, 1 year. Got a bunch of people on my boat. We're leaving Monty's in the Grove, which anybody that knows the South Florida area will know where Monty's is in Coconut Grove. I was on a 18-foot rigid inflatable on that day. Family. This guy, his daughter, his wife, and my kids. This guy jumps off the boat. I mean, I'm running it back. I think I was taking the boat a little harder than I should, and it was kind of heavy for what it was, and the boat just shut off on me. I was like, oh shoot, what's going on here? So once it shuts off, he's drinking. He's like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Hold on a second. He jumps in the thing. I'm like, oh man, this is not good, right?
Yeah, tie a rope to you, like.
Well, yeah. It's like, what are you doing? So I'm like, hey, what are you doing? So immediately I'm like, oh shoot, this guy's an idiot. And I'm trying to start the boat.
Yep.
It's not starting. This guy's like, yo, come get me. And I'm thinking, what a fool, dude. I go, this guy's not going to put me on a mission. So in my mind, I'm already on like, this guy doesn't realize the danger that we're in, that he's in.
Yeah, 30 minutes and you're gone. Like, I mean, like you're going to be so far away, the boat, you're going to separate to where.
Well, so all of a sudden, this current is ripping. And I'm telling you this one, when current is ripping, and the current was going one way, and the boat was going,
take you miles.
All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, shoot. Then my daughter, that's 16 or 17 at the time, decides to do the same thing. Because she saw
he was in trouble.
No, she didn't see that. She saw the opportunity too to go to the bathroom.
Oh,
right? Hey, jump in the water. Hey, here it is. So all of a sudden, now I have my daughter in the water, him, and then he's already like, hey, come grab me. I'm going to drown here. And I'm like, oh, boy. So I see instantly panic on the boat. Panic. So I tell everybody to move. I go ahead and I get the anchor and I throw the anchor. Because first thing I have to do is think about me, right? Because I'm the captain of the boat. And if I can't put myself in a good spot, I'm affecting myself. And everybody else is going to.
Well, it's like what they tell you on the airplane. You put your mask on first before you help anybody else.
Yeah. Because if I'm stuck like Chuck, then everybody's going to be in a bad spot.
Yep.
So I told my wife, give me my fins, give me my snorkel. Because of that moment that I had
with the other guy,
neighbor, I always kept a pair of fins on my boat. Because realistically, in a survival scenario, if you had to swim from a far distance, if you sunk yourself, it's much easier to do it with fins and a snorkel. You can go really far.
Yeah.
So in most of the time,
before you wear out,
when I would go on my boat, because of who I am, I always like to do things by myself. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody's filming me. I do whatever I want. It's my freedom. It's like my motorcycle. That's why people don't see a lot of the content that I put when I'm by myself on my boat. So long story short, I throw the anchor. I didn't even know if it stuck or not. I just threw it.
Yep.
Because I know time was.
It's just it's of the essence.
And he's getting far.
Yeah.
And he's already gasping. And my daughter, she was like, hey, well, come get me.
So now you got double rescue now.
So I get my fins. I didn't have a snorkel. They couldn't find the snorkel, and I wasn't going to wait for the snorkel.
Yeah.
But I had the fins. So I jump into the water. I tell them to give me 3 life vests. So I go into the water, and I put my head down, and first I swim to my daughter, who's closest to me, and I give her a life vest, and I said, baby, whatever you want, don't worry about it. Just chill here. Just rest on this. Don't worry about it. If you float far away, nothing's going to happen. I'm going to pick you up once I start the boat. Just don't worry. Don't gas yourself. That's my thing. Okay, one stabilized. This other guy is already gassing. And I see him like that, and it's kind of rough.
And he's drunk, so he's like...
And he's already drunk. Hey, come get me. I'm going to die here. And all I hear in the back of my ear is, my dad's gonna die.
Oh no!
Oh, so I'm hearing this and panic and
all
scream.
Kinds of
Just
chaos.
Chaos on the boat. And nobody, like, if something happens that I can't get back onto that boat and it doesn't actually anchor itself, I'm in a world of shit. I know that I'll get back on the boat if I have the fins. I don't care how much current it is. I'll get back to the boat.
Yeah.
Now my worry is in my mind. I'm thinking, dude, I'm gonna have to drag this guy on the side of the boat back to where we got to get into, and he's probably going to be lifeless, and his kid's on my boat.
Oh my goodness.
This is bad.
Yeah, that's a bad situation.
That's a tough spot. I kick. I get to this guy, and he's about to go down.
Oh no.
Right before he goes down, I grab him, and I had the life vest with me, and I say, relax. Just relax. Don't do anything else. Just relax. Do you know how to float on your back? He's like, I don't know, bro. You saved my life.
Oh, now he seems like we ain't back at the boat yet, buddy.
Listen. We're
50% here, man.
We're far from this, right? Mind you, there's the backstory of this guy the whole time. He's like, I'm the alpha of the family. He's one of those, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm saving his life, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I get to him. I tell him, hey, just chill. Let's drift a little bit. We're going to go further away from the boat. from that point, I see my daughter. She's actually swimming towards the boat, and she made it to the boat.
Oh, beautiful.
So,
yep.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Yep. One down.
Yeah. And then she ended up getting to the boat, and then I get with this guy, and I said, all right, let's swim together. I had both fins on, and at that time I wasn't remembering or thinking about
splitting
the split.
Yeah.
Right. I said, let's go. So I thought, your adrenaline, fight or flight. I put my head down. I'm going to take this guy because I'm Superman. And this guy's like 350.
He's dead weight.
And I'm like, I'm kicking and kicking. And I'm going nowhere. Like this. I think I can. And I'm like, dude, I got 5 feet right now. This is not going to happen.
Oh.
And you'd be surprised how much somebody could push themselves with those fins.
Mm-hmm.
So then I said, hey, put this fin on. Put the other fin on. I had mine. He had his. We started kicking, and we started getting closer to the boat. Mind you, the current was still taking the boat away from us, but it already stopped. And then we got to the point there was like maybe 15, 20 feet from the boat.
Throw a line out. We can grab it.
If I were with my friends, they'd know what to do.
Yep.
Throw a line out.
Tie all the dock lines together. Get as long much rope out there as you can.
And for those watching, right, guys, one of the best things you can do if somebody's in the water, right, get a bunch of lines together and put at the very end of the line some life vests or something.
A fender, whatever.
Yeah.
A bumper, what you got?
Something that's going to float. And make sure that and sometimes people don't even realize that certain lines, right, they just have a regular rope. They're like, oh, this rope is going to float. If you throw a rope that's not meant to float, it's going to sink down to the water. And it's going to come right back to you. So it's meaningless in a survival scenario like that. You want it to float.
Yep.
So, and if you can't make it float, you need to tie something onto the end of it so that it can float.
Keep the line up.
Keep the line up.
You can get to it and grab it. And
because I mean, there's literally people that make that mistake. They throw their line and all of a sudden it sinks to the bottom. They're like, that's what an anchor line does. So the last 15 feet, I ended up putting my head down. I got him to the boat. It was Father's Day. It's an important day for me and my family. Everybody is chaos and panic.
Oh, yeah. At this point in time, yeah.
I want to go home.
The day's over.
Yeah, but you know what? I didn't want that memory to be remembered in the kids, right?
Yeah.
And I became Dictator Alfred at that moment. You can use that as a clip. I became Dictator Alfred. And I was like, hey, bro, we're not going to just go home.
Yeah.
This is my day too.
We're going to enjoy the rest of this day.
We're going to enjoy this day. I didn't want the day to end
on a
bad note.
Yeah.
Right? So I said, hey, listen, here's what we're going to do. We got the boat started. Everything was fine. It was one of these things that had to happen. And then we ended up going to the house after we did all that stuff. And then that's when I told everybody, let's just go. If it means a lot to me, we all have to hang out here. And then we did what we did. And then everybody left with a different sentiment as far as how chaotic that moment was.
Right.
When they thought the worst was going to happen. Because I know to this day, they remember that moment, but they don't remember it as it really was because of how it ended. Yeah. And I saw that in my mind at the moment, right?
Well, it was just instant, and you turned it into a good memory, and it kind of like lessened
the trauma.
Yeah, the trauma. Yeah.
Listen, trust me, I thought it was going to be like, I was envisioning myself. I was like,
with a casualty.
I mean, how am I going to get this guy on the boat?
Yeah.
Like, that was my first thing. This guy's going to be.
Well, at 350, that's a big guy to be pulling out of water.
Yeah, by yourself, right? And then I have little kids. I don't like.
Yeah,
like now my kids are older, right? So, but there's stories like that, and I play around and I see a lot of crazy things at the boat ramp when I film the Chicho, which is a series I do. If they don't know, they can check it out.
Yeah,
but it's me at a boat ramp just basically talking shit.
I was actually going to go into, because tomorrow we got the Miami International Boat Show. I was going to go into the boat show, but actually, why don't we go into more of the boat ramp type talk? And so what you kind of started a trend with the whole boat ramp.
I started a genre.
You really did.
I was the first one to do it.
I did not see on YouTube like you'd see some like, you know, a one clip deal. You know, like there's plenty of clips of Lake Havasaw and like all these other places, like Lake of the Ozarks. There's like a one clip of like, you know, a boat ramp thing.
Brings out their phone.
Yeah. But you created like the whole deal. So like, and now there's a bunch of copycatters out there that are like you created a genre. Exactly. That's where'd that come from? Like, did you, you know?
So, you know, we had this beautiful thing called COVID, right? You remember that?
Oh yeah.
So, and that was sarcasm, guys, for those watching. Just in case.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm like, I'm doing stuff on my channel. I'm doing the boat shows. I'm doing a series called Rip Fishing. And, you know, just giving value to my audience. Anything boat related that I think is cool or interesting, I want to put it on my channel. It doesn't necessarily have to be just the boat ramps. Like I've done stuff on tugboats, you know, which are super cool. Things that I find interesting that I end up doing that they can do themselves. And then I'm hearing Governor Cuomo that was on every news station every day. Today's death count, 750 folks. This is bad. The fever's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm like,
everybody's just death.
Dude, I don't want to hear this.
Yeah.
Like I get it. It's something that's bad and you want to talk about it, but I don't want to hear this.
Yeah.
So I said,
not for this long. Like, you know, it's been a year.
So where I'm at, there's Black Point Marina, and Black Point Marina, there's a section that I call Chicho Live, which is a little green area where people actually just sit. They get some little lawn chairs, and they get some free entertainment at the boat ramp. It's literally the best free entertainment all over the world, guys. I would tell you, if you want free entertainment, just go to your local boat ramp whenever you can. And there's supply. When I call supply, there's boaters, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I've seen a lot of stuff at the boat ramps. But what happens at Black Point seems to be like above and beyond the like why is Black Point? Because like you can see even now that you've got so many copycatters, just the content or the supply of entertainment that happens, it's not near some of the stuff that I've seen on, and I've got some examples we'll talk about, but like it's not near what you see at Black Point.
Okay, so what you're saying, I don't know, and I'll tell you why I don't know. I've never ever watched a video of any of my competitors.
Oh,
ever.
Well, no, I'm saying just going to other boat ramps though.
Well, but I'm saying I wouldn't know. Like,
really,
I don't really watch people that do what I do, at all, and I don't want to get any influence from anybody because I'm extremely authentic with me. Like, if you see me use terms like Pole of Faith or Chicho, or, you know,
whiskey throttle.
These are all terms that I've used growing up. So in my end, I don't want to be influenced by anybody's mannerisms, style. Or anything.
But outside of that, I mean, like I've seen the stuff like the regular, you know, the truck goes in the water or that kind of stuff. Like that's
I'll see that like on Instagram.
Yeah, on anywhere.
And they share stuff to me all the time.
But even outside of that, like some of the things like, what was the one? They got the wrecker truck and they got the boat on the trailer backwards on the wrecker truck and they're trying to like lower it down. What's going on here?
So that
you don't see that at another boat ramp.
So
this is a Black Point thing. Like,
so there's a funny video that I have on my channel that I'm all giddy and excited, and everybody, you know, there's a guy that comes in, and for those who don't know, there was a local guy, firefighter, that I actually met one day. Randomly, he told me, "Hey, I'm the guy who filmed the wrecker going in with the boat backwards, and it sunk the boat, and it became a giant mess." Right? So one day I'm filming at the boat ramp, and I'm live. I go live on my channel.
Yeah.
And I see this wrecker coming back. All of a sudden, same scenario. So in my mind, I'm looking at this video. I'm like, this is the one. I've been waiting. So I'm giddy and I'm talking this and that. And then, you know, ultimately in the end, they were successful.
Yeah.
They didn't have all the problems that the other person had. So then my comment section just went crazy, which for us as creators is great because it just puts more engagement and makes the video go more viral.
Right.
So, you know, and I welcome people say good, bad, I don't care. As long as it's not malicious.
Yeah.
If it's not malicious that it's going to hurt me or my family, I can care less. And if I want to block them, I could. You know, like we can hide your comments, but I like people to be free and say good and bad. I want to hear that.
I'm that opinion too. I don't, you know, as long as you're not being like super hateful or vulgar or something like that. I mean, this is America. Did you do what you want?
That's right.
I want my freedoms, and therefore I think you should get to do whatever you want to do.
Amen.
Because I want to do what I want to do.
That's
so
right.
it's like, you know,
100%.
and I see that same thing on the socials. Like, yeah, sure. You know, you're not going to agree with everybody, and who are you to police the world anyway? So it's like, I'm with you on that.
I think there's nothing better than having a voice, right? And I'd rather you say something bad than not say anything at all.
Yeah.
Right? To me, your engagement is worse than, because you see, I can work with somebody that doesn't get me, right?
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, why does this guy say bro every other thing? And I'm in Miami. It's a thing that we say and do down here, right? So it's just a little different. Like you were in the Keys at some point.
Oh yeah, I spent over a decade in the Keys.
Okay. People from the Keys, they're really laid back.
Yeah. Everything's slow.
Yeah, everything is slow.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh boy. Right now I'm like, I gotta tone it down a little. I might be going too fast for Aaron. But then you moved up north right now. That's where you're at now.
Yeah, I'm up in Sebastian now. Yeah.
Okay, so you're up north. So you know, I can understand that because like when I go to New York or I go to these big cities, they drive me crazy because I'm like, Miami's fast, but it's not New York fast.
Right.
I go to New York and I'm like stressed out. The taxi driver, are you gonna get in the car or what, man? Bro, I don't have all day. I'm like, dude, I literally just touched the. I don't care. I'm like, damn, this guy just left. So based on where you're at, and the more you travel, the more you learn, right? And I just try to learn from all the people, right? Because I think there's a lot of good people. Even if I don't agree with their comment, they have good points.
Yeah.
And I've taken those points to heart. Like I'll say, okay, I'm not going to say this. And what they fail to realize is that when I do videos and I'm not trying to script anything, it's just what's coming out of my mind.
Yeah, it's live.
I have to have Phil to respond in my mind fast so that it's not going to bore those people.
Yeah. So they just kind of roasted you in the comments because they roast me all the time. Because the boat successfully was launched off the wrecker.
Yes.
Like,
you're such a drama queen.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at that situation, like from the get, like this is a bad idea. This is
okay. So let me tell you a story about that, because you know what's funny is that I've been in that spot. And now that just remembered, and you know, like when you have a boat
breakdown on the trailer,
you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
One night, you know, I was gonna go out. I was gonna launch out of Bayfront, which is in Homestead, which is further south from Black Point. For those that don't know, I end up getting 5 a.m. I'm like, oh, I'm excited. You know, those nights you prep the whole night before.
Yep.
You do everything. You get your leader straight. Everything is like, oh, this is
you
great.
got full gas. You're ready to go.
Yeah, you're ready to go. So I go, and I'm all of a sudden, and some guy hits me.
Oh no!
5:20 in the morning on the turnpike, and I'm going about 65. This guy's hauling ass, hits me on the back of my
trailer.
Well, he hit the skeg of my motor
through the whole
thing. All of a sudden, I lose control, but nothing bad really happened.
Yeah,
I saw the trailer got damaged, so I'm like, oh man, this is a problem, dude. You know,
5 miles to go.
First thing the guy comes up to me, goes, "Hey man, I'm sorry." I'm like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm okay, man. I'm sorry, this and that." And this guy's thinking, I'm just going to go. Like in his mind, he's thinking,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm leaving. I'm like, no, dude, it doesn't work that way.
Like,
you know?
like,
I go,
just hit my boat.
Why do you want to leave, dude? I mean, right now we just got in a car accident.
Yeah.
Just call, give me your insurance, do this. And he goes, I don't have insurance.
Oh, no. Yeah, as soon as you start the conversation, he's already like backing up towards his vehicle.
So I'm like, this is Miami. It's 5:30. The guy didn't seem drunk, so I eliminated that out of the equation, right? And as someone who's been an entrepreneur most of my life, I've worked overnight a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that's really dangerous is driving.
Oh yeah, sleepy.
Late, yeah. It's worse. I think it's worse
than
anything.
Yeah.
Right. So truckers,
you could doze off, and
truckers, if you're out there, you're tired, just take a break. I mean, that power nap is going to help you, and I'll say that to anybody too.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, he ended up. He goes, look, just give me your information. I got his information. So he ruined the bottom of my skeg.
Mess up the prop.
He messed up the prop. Not terrible. So I started looking at it, and I'm like, those moments that you're like, I'm just gonna fight the day. And when I'm at the boat ramp, I always tell people, don't fight the day, because of my experiences.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, if the world is telling you don't do this, listen to your intuition. Right.
Yeah.
It's telling you don't do it. And if it sounds louder in your mind, it says don't do it. But I was just young and stubborn. I was like, whatever, I'm gonna do it. So I called tow truck. The tow truck ends up coming. They put the actual trailer on the tow truck. I looked at my boat and I was like, eh. I looked at the prop. It's spinning. The hub wasn't hitting. So I was like, I can knock this in the water. So I called a buddy of mine's.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a welder. And I said, hey, Lewis, if I go and drop off my trailer at Black Point, I just got into an accident. You think you can fix it before 5? So literally I said, hey, drop the actual trailer in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to float off. Pull this out. Park it right here. I call my friend. I'm in the water. I go back and forth. I shifted in gear. I'm like, we're ready to go, baby. So I left it there.
Yeah.
My friend is going to town on the trailer while I'm going open ocean, just looking for tuna at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy because I'm not having any issues, and I've had such big issues that morning.
Right.
And then every time you're on the water, it's like it's better than doing anything else, right? A bad day on the water is better than working.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
100%, right? So I end up getting hit by a nice wahoo.
Oh, I love wahoo.
I was like, yeah, let's effing go. So I fought this wahoo, and I ended up catching a wahoo.
Sashimi right there.
Gaffed it far as hell. I mean, I'm far. I'm like 2,000 feet of water at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, I was like, this is it. This is what the day, like I had a moment of adversity. I fought it. And at this moment, I was successful.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't listen to my conscience that day, and it worked out better.
Yeah.
The next time I had something happen like that, I was on a helicopter going to Jackson because
Memorial.
I didn't listen to myself.
Yeah.
And I'm airlifted, with all my things, riding an ATV, which is another story. But the point is that sometimes it's better just to listen to your conscience and say, today's not the day. Let me just go ahead and when I see that at the boat ramp, I say it, right?
I think I tell a lot of people that you need to learn to love the process, and like as you're doing stuff, and because everybody's I got this goal in mind. I'm going to go for this goal. I'm going to go for this goal. I'm going to go for this goal. And then they spend all this time to get to the goal. And then once it's done, it's like, oh, well, that's it. It's like, you just spent, a year on something or 2 days, a week, whatever.
Yeah.
Learn to enjoy that whole thing. It's part of the boating in general, because some of the other ones, like I probably won't be able to explain some of them if you remember them. Like
You've done a bunch of cool stuff on your channel.
Oh, well, I've done, yeah, I have, but
Yeah.
but some of the boat ramp things that like I've seen from you at Black Point, I think my favorite though, my favorite is the guy. He's in like, I don't know, like a bay liner or something, like this old bay liner or something. He's up in the top of the boat.
The Crusher.
Is that what it is?
That's the Crusher. You got to type in the Crusher on YouTube. The Crusher Black Point. That's
that guy.
Yes.
It's so funny, and because of your commentary, that's what did it. Because like when he pulls up, you're like, oh no, he's at a disadvantage, guys. He's at a disadvantage. Yeah. This guy pulls up to the ramp or the boat, and then just like.
And he crushed some poor soul. Both the cowlings on the guy.
Yeah.
And then he starts fighting with the guy after he just crushed his boat. He's like,
yeah, he
why were you in my way?
Got it stuck in gear and drove right into the boat ahead of him. Like, yeah, crushed his cowlings all up. Like, I wouldn't be able to hold it together. Like, and you held it together because you're like, oh shoot, I told you he was at a disadvantage, guys. He's like,
well listen, when you're got so many hours of looking at scenarios, right? It's like a parent, right?
Yeah,
you know what your kids are going to do before they do it, and you're like, all right, let me block this here because I know they're going to do this, and I'm not dealing with that. Yeah, I'm ready to prevent this. I see scenarios happening beforehand just by people's body language, right? How they're dominating the boat, how I see how their approach is, right?
Open the tower, like, the music's loud.
So all of a sudden, my trademark word is like, wait for it. And then sure enough, I say that because I already kind of assumed that there's going to be something that's going to happen, right?
Yep.
And then sure enough, some crazy stuff. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching the channel the last couple of days. I was at the boat ramp and stuff just got crazy. Like,
really? Yeah,
there was a lady captain, and I'm here like just
recording on his
hand. I'm recording, and I'm like, hey, a lot of times, and it's true, a lot of the times the female captains are less problematic. Yeah. Because they're lighter on the throttle, and these guys there was two guys on the side of the boat. The boat's leaning one side. Long story short, she whiskey throttles. Guy falls off the boat, hits the dock.
Oh no!
Oh yes, we want that, right? Oh yeah. I mean, we don't want it, but if it's gonna happen, we might as well get it on camera, right? Like that's what I always tell people. Listen, guys, I really don't want bad things to happen. I don't.
It's just they happen consistently.
It's gonna happen regardless. We might as well enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, 100%. Like there's so many of people that like don't. It's surprising because. I don't know why people's first instinct is to try and get out of the boat. Like to try and get your leg out. There was another one.
Oh yeah.
That I don't remember.
Yeah, they abandoned ship instead of.
Was it where I think because they always mess up. Like one of the things at the boat ramp, they always pull in and they miss it and they're floating away. So then they think that they're going to turn the boat around. It's like you can't turn, like you ain't got the space, like you can't turn the boat around. And they always do. They always turn it around. They get panicked. They gun it. They smash the dock, put a hole in the boat. Yeah. But there's always the one guy that thinks he's going to stick his hand or his leg or something out the boat. No. And was it a robalo or something? The guy sticks his leg out, and sure enough, the guy guns it, and like I don't know if it smashed his leg, but he falls back in the boat, and you're like, oh no, he's down, guys. He's down for the count. Like, listen, I'm like
that you're talking about. That's a cursed century.
So, okay.
Okay, so what you're talking about is the cursed century, and in my channel, there's a running joke that whenever you can't dock the boat properly, it's because the boat is cursed. And it started off with the cursed century.
Was that the guy? Okay.
So if you type in cursed century, you'll see that moment. And then it became the cursed robalo because the curse is transferred from one boat manufacturer to another. And this is why I'm so well loved by all these manufacturers.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
So then it went from the cursed century to the cursed robalo. Back to the cursed century. Now it's at the cursed sea fox.
Oh no.
We had the crusher, which was the bay liner. So in the end, there's multiple times, and there's many things that happen to all types of people. And I tell you, I have people that train people not to have problems happen to them, but they've been caught on the Chicho.
Really?
Oh yeah. You guys haven't seen it because Alfred has been nice enough to say, I don't want you to have that image of me out there, right? Because I know that that's a part of their livelihood.
Yeah.
Just like when there's stuff happening across the pond at Freedom Boat Club or across where Loggerhead is, where I end the flag, things happen there, but I just don't post it.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're all there working. Like I do
you
my
can
own
damage
stuff.
their business. Yeah.
So the intent of the Chicho from the inception of when I had it in COVID was always just to make people smile.
Yeah.
I didn't want people. I wanted to make something that's going to make people laugh and smile, and I knew that I can do it without being offensive. Right? When I do the Chicho, people think I'm laughing at them. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing at the scenario.
Right.
The situation.
Which we've all been in those.
We've all been.
Like
right.
I've hit ground, I've blown up engines, I've done, you name it, been there,
I've been ejected. Same thing.
Yeah, and the trailer coming off the truck, bouncing on the chain, it's all happened. Yes, it happens.
It happens, and I don't care how good or how badass you are. If you haven't had those scenarios happen, it's because you haven't been on the boating. Water. That's right.
Yeah,
you haven't been boating enough.
Yep. Yeah.
So once you've had it all happen already, you're like, all right, I've seen this rodeo before.
Yeah, here it comes. Sit back,
So sometimes it's good just to sit back and watch just people drown in their own water, and so now for me, I'm in that stage of my life that I'm like, I'd rather just be on other people's boat, right?
Yeah.
And then I do the stuff on YouTube, and now it's almost like the water and boating is almost like becoming work.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to do as much as like now it's like, hey, you want to go fishing and do this? And I'm like, yeah, bro, but that couch looks kind of good. It's
inside out of the sun for a little bit.
Because I've done it, right? So it has to be very different, right? Or the people have to be people that I really care about, that I'm going to share a moment with, right? That I could say, and mind you, if I haven't gone fishing with someone, like if you tell me, Alfred, let's go fishing, let's go, we'll do it. Yeah. And then, you're with people like that you like, that are like-minded, you have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you do it 10 times. The fishing's a little different. This fishing day sucked. This one was a gangbuster, Yeah. Fishing is fishing. I mean, one day you hit, one day you don't.
Yeah.
I don't care how good of a fisherman you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the fish ain't biting, I did a video with 1,000 pounds of chum on my channel. I
That's a lot.
I went. So I went and I did a video of how they make chum in a local factory in Hialeah. And what the guy does, he would go to the fish markets, he'd get the leftover fish, ground it up, and make chum. So I was like, cool, I want to show the process of that. And if you've seen a lot of the series that I've done, shrimping videos, I've done lobster catching videos, stone crab catching videos, the chum video. And it's not videos that I know are going to get a lot of views, but I think anybody that watches them are going to be like, that was kind of cool. Yeah. And you learn something, right? Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get this guy. He's got it pretty cheap. I'm going to do one of those crazy videos. Let's see what happens if we throw 1,000 pounds of chum.
That's a lot.
So I go and I'm there with my nephew and my best friend. His name is Baby Fish Killer. His name is Felipe Prieto.
Okay.
He's got the Peacock bass fishing record in Florida.
Really?
So he's a really good fisherman.
Okay.
Good friend of mine. He's all over my rib fishing playlist, which is my first series on my rib boat, fishing, which that was my introduction to doing YouTube. So it's not the best series because I didn't know this aspect of it as good as I know it now. But it's somebody I really enjoyed my time with, right? Because we grew up together. I mean, so I take him fishing, and this guy's a diehard fisherman. This is like this is one of those people you have food poisoning, you're green.
He knows the seasons, the temperature, the water, the current, the moon phases. But
if you're sick, he's gonna be like, one more cast.
Yeah.
One more cast. bro, I'm dying, Phil. No,
Yeah.
one more cast, bro. Relax. You're good. Bro, I'm dying. And he's like that last cast guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we ended up, casting and doing all that stuff. But we ended up putting 1,000 pounds of chum on my nephew's Sea Pro. And my idea was you just get like 1,000 pounds of chum and you see what it attracts.
Yeah, you develop your own ecosystem at that point. Yeah. Because you're just continuing.
And you see the mindset of a YouTuber as opposed to your friend that wants a fish. He's like, yo, bro, we're putting too much chum. We're getting the fish full. And I'm like,
we're getting the fish full.
This is not the reason I'm doing this video, dude. I'm doing this video because I want to see like the Loch Ness monster come out from the bottom.
Yeah.
And then so it just became this giant nightmare because in the end
he's mad.
He's mad. The fishing sucked. And then to top it off, the boat smelled like death.
Oh, I bet. Like,
no, you can't. Hey, Aaron, I'm telling you, you cannot smell what 4 p.m. outside chum, 1,500 pounds, or like maybe 300 pounds still available out there smells like, right?
I know what it smells like.
Oh,
no. The only reason I know, well, I don't know which one's worse because I've never smelled that. But after one of the hurricanes, my bait freezer.
Oh, that's the worst.
3 weeks with 5 bars of chum, a set of ballyhoo. Oh, it was the worst. Like that was the worst smell. Like worst smell I've ever smelled in my life.
Oh yeah.
So I'm guessing it was something like that.
It's right here. It stays here in the top of your lip.
So I'm guessing it's something like that. Like only it's your entire boat now. Like how do you wash that out?
Okay, so
whose boat were you on?
So I was on my nephew's boat. Right?
Like, here you got the boat back.
My nephew, and I'll tell you, it's a funny video for me to film. And you can see it on my channel. I just put 1,000 pounds of chum, Alfred Montaner. It probably pop up.
Yeah.
And then, in the end, I learned a very valuable thing. That if the day is not meant for the fish to bite, for whatever reason, you can have all the chum in the world. It's not going to matter.
Yeah.
When the bite's on, it's on. If it's not on, it's not on.
Nope.
Now
you got to move.
Yeah. So in that aspect, I learned that. And then I also learned that a brick of chum thrown at you kind of hurts when you're in the water. You gotta watch the video for that.
I never even thought about this. So did you just put it all on the deck of the boat?
So we did. That's what.
And it was just sitting in the sun the whole time.
Yeah, because
it's
not going to fit in the entire boat. It's 1,000. I mean, I don't. I can't.
You had 100 blocks.
It was a bunch of blocks, right? So think about it. Like, do the math. Like 10-pound blocks.
Oh my
pounds,
gosh!
And
I didn't even think about that. I'm like, wow.
So, and like I said, and in the beginning, I'm here trying to be the one-man band to get all the shots and angles. I didn't have like all the contraptions to put a camera to go. You know? It was just me filming and then still having fun with my friends. and then obviously my nephew was like, "Uncle, what did I do to deserve this?" Because in the end, he had to clean his boat, right? So
you didn't even clean it for me. You just dropped it off.
No, he's like, dude, I'm gonna have to pay somebody to do this. I'm not even gonna do this. It's just as bad. So I mean, the whole time, even off camera when we just stopped filming because we just wanted to be
hanging out, whatever.
I just couldn't stop laughing. It was one of those days that I think about it now, and we just didn't stop laughing. So I also learned that if you're gonna go fishing with a non-YouTuber, you have to have one expectation. Yeah. If you're going to fish with a YouTuber, their idea of a good time on a boat to fish is, let me show them the good time. Yeah. That's what we think as a good time. Yeah. Right? Because all of a sudden it's like, hey, this is a monster fish, monster this and that. How did it get to that story of this from the beginning all the way here? Because all of a sudden you can catch the biggest fish and we didn't get it on camera. We're like, damn, this day sucks. It's horrible. It's a 400-pound tuna and we didn't get it on film. Like you had one job, bro, and that camera
Yeah.
just turned off.
Yeah.
How can you not know that the audio wasn't on, bro?
Yeah.
And then all your friends are like, bro, but we just caught a 400-pound fish. You're dead to me, bro. You had one job. Don't ever call me again.
That's it.
Yeah. And you didn't give me $50 for gas.
Yeah. Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like that. I mean, everybody's gonna have their own stories. In the end, boating. What I measure my life in memories. Right.
Mm-hmm.
To me, how many memories can I accomplish with the people I care about?
Yeah.
That to me is ultimate wealth.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you have money, you can persuade people. You know, but there's people that don't have money that persuade people.
Yeah.
So that guy's very wealthy in what he does and how he moves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't have a lot of money and gets the same thing that the guy who has money, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a totally. Yeah.
But that's a measure of wealth, right? Like I can be on a lot of boats if I really make the effort and say, hey, why don't we go do this? Why don't we do that? And all of a sudden, because of what I do and who I am, they're gonna be like, oh, let's go out for this and that. And there's a price tag to something like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
If it were me, hey, it's gonna be $400 and this and da da da, you know. So, but in the end, it's about memories. It's about making those core memories with the people you care about, whether they're good or bad. Like I laugh about all those scenarios now, all that crazy stuff. And all that, you know, like I see this guy that I saved his life. I'm like, who's the alpha now? Right? So all of a sudden. He's like, oh, yeah. And then his ex-wife is like, you should have let him drown.
You're like, I didn't want that.
You would have saved me a lot of heartache. I was like, damn, my bad.
Yeah.
So,
and I think boating is exactly that, where like you're doing, it's about the memories, you know?
Yeah.
Now, so let's go over and talk about boat shows a little bit. So
let's go.
You've been to a lot of shows. Actually, have you ever tracked your steps during a boat show? Because some of them are massive. Like,
well, you know, it's funny that you say that. I think the most I've done is like 25,000 steps.
That's ridiculous.
In one day.
That's ridiculous.
Which, for the record, I have arthritis in my right knee. You know, and I just came from the Dusseldorf boat show recently in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in Germany. Boat show, beautiful show, amazing, big.
It's a big show.
It's a very big show.
No, okay, so I only know like Flibs. I know American
Local
boat shows.
Yeah.
So how does it compare to say Flibs or Miami?
Well, in their particular case, the difference is that it's indoor.
Okay.
So you know, one of the directors literally said it's an indoor marina, the world's largest indoor marina. So one of the things that struck me the first time I went, I mean, they got 150-foot yachts inside.
Really?
An indoor, you know, building.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, this must be a massive undertaking.
Mm-hmm.
So that caught my attention more than anything, because when you see a big yacht like that, you never see the actual.
You ain't putting that on a trailer and
Okay, and you see, and that's what I said. I was like, hey, how do they get this in here?
Yeah, you're craning all that. Like that's
so okay. And so they have a crane called a big lift called Big Willie, right? And that's on the Rhine River. And one of the reasons that I went this year, I said, hey, because they invited me after my last time. They're just like, hey, we really love the content you did. We'd love you to come back. And I was like, well, if you let me film Big Willie, you know, because I already did the research. I wanted to find out how they brought it in.
Yeah.
Because anything I think is interesting, I think my audience is going to think
100%.
Interesting too.
100%.
So I'm like, how do they get this here? I want to show how that process is. And more than the process, I want to show the people.
Yeah.
The people that make that happen. Because, like I
there's
said,
thousands of people that go into these things. Like,
well, think about it. Those thousands of people, they all have a key function that if that person doesn't do their job, as we're recording this, we're waiting on the Miami Boat Show to start. Mm-hmm. There's guys right now having conversations, are still doing things at the boat show.
Oh, yeah.
Which
putting the carpet down,
I filmed the whole breakdown and setup of Fort Lauderdale and Palm Beach.
Which Fort Lauderdale's even bigger because that's all on the, they're putting the docks out, the whole.
Seeing them work, right?
And that's that's like almost a mile long too, isn't it?
So what was interesting about that show was how big it is indoors, right? And it's done in January. So it's in probably one of the coldest days of the year. I mean, for me, being from South Florida,
Yeah,
and yourself too.
yeah.
Anything under 60, we're like freezing.
Yeah, no,
I'm good. I'm
yeah,
good.
that's uninhabitable weather for me. Like,
There's
people
no
live here. Like, what is this?
Yeah. You're like, hell. But that's one of the things that's cool about it, right? It's the first big show of the year, and so when I went over there, this time, I showed a little bit of the behind the scenes of how they make the show happen, because my audience has been seeing that on my channel with the shows here, and I thought,
with the flips that you did,
it would bring a little bit more value to my audience so they can see like a different, right, like.
Well, 150-foot boat, like that's a big crane.
So literally, we walked out to the Rhine River, and they told me, these are the NATO ramps, and this is what we do, and this is how we do it. And I was like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, it's not just, hey, here's the boat. How did all this happen?
Yeah.
And that's when you have the army of people that do what they do to make the boat shows happen. Like right now, they're not going to see that you're here in the Holiday Inn. What they're going to see on your channel, in your main channel, is, hey, I'm here at the show, and the way you package it and to see it.
Yeah.
But they don't see how you got here, the mission you're going to get on, the breakdown, pack this up, take it to the show, come back, the battery's turning off. They're not going to see none of that.
No,
right?
no.
They're going to just see what you want to show them. So, but yes, it's different. For me, after being in multiple shows, because I've done to Dubai last year, I went to Cannes, I went to Geneva.
Do those shows internationally have like a like, I'm guessing that it shows more regional. So like, boat shows down here, we see a lot of center consoles, stuff like that. So like, maybe somewhere up north in Seattle, you see more like a sailboat show or stuff like that. So like the boats kind of like reflect the region.
Yes.
What kind of boats did they really kind of break down there?
So everything is like where you're at. Like if you tell me, hey, I'm going to go to the Seattle Boat Show, my mindset is already aluminum boats, pilot house, right? Because wet weather, cold, aluminum for rocks, right? These guys are hitting logs and things. So it makes sense for the area, right? Pacific Northwest, Alaska. So remember, these guys want to fix things right away. If you make a hole on a fiberglass boat, you're not going to fix it right away.
No, you got to let it dry out.
You can weld something right away, whatever temperature, whatever weather, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So based on where you're at in the world, that's why certain boats, like over here, we're going to see boats that are the way that we see them in South Florida.
Yeah.
And what people see is what they're going to want to buy because they want to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
I'd personally rock a Pacific Northwest boat down here all day, every day. It'll be a little hot for this area, but I wouldn't mind being enclosed in a badass pilot house boat over here and fish it and be comfortable. And
hey, Parkers, and there's a lot of boats that are
there's a lot, and you see, but you'll see Parkers in Northeast. You see them also in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, but you see there's different boats for the area. Europe is full of rib boats. Rigid inflatables, right? And there's multiple reasons for that. Some of them is taxation, that certain feet, based on the length of a certain boat in certain parts of the world, in Europe, hey, it's going to cost you this much more in this bracket to have this boat. So the higher you get, the more you get gouged, right? Like over here, we're pretty lucky that you can have a big boat in Florida and you're not getting hurt because your boat is bigger than the next guy's.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Over there, you do get hurt. So So that restricts, and manufacturers will make boats based on the customers that they're dealing with. Almost like when somebody's going to put a filter on a purchase price on a boat. You might say my purchase price is $1 million, but that number is only 999,000. Yeah. And that's what you can get under. And all of a sudden the boat you want is at $1 million and you filtered it out. Yeah. So that scenario happens a lot over there. So it's the workaround that the industry has to use based on how they can get what their customer wants. which is regrettably a problem. They don't have the luxury of having fuel prices like what we have here in the States. So they're more conscious when it comes to fuel. So when they see us putting 5 and 6 engines on a cigarette or, a Scout or something like that, they think like that's just a ridiculous way to spend money.
Yeah.
And over here, somebody that says, hey, I worked hard. I want to have this. I can afford it. And I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So they just do it. Their thinking is a little bit different. They're more about comfort.
You see more diesels over there than there's gas, or is it outboards, inboards?
No, you're seeing a lot of outboards now, but there was a lot of inboards and diesels out there. You'll still see them on the bigger yachts and stuff like that, just like you see over here.
But the outboard's more price wise.
Well, yeah, the trend has been for the last couple of years that it makes sense to put an outboard on a certain engine, on a boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier to maintain in most cases,
yeah.
Right? If you have an issue, you can just swap it out, as opposed to, like I always tell people, they're like, what's the best motor? And I was like, well, it depends on where you're at, right? Like, if you're stuck in the Bahamas and, let's say a couple of years back, you probably won't have somebody work on this manufacturer because they just don't know the engine because they've never seen it.
Yeah, it's never been there, you don't want something.
But if you've seen the same engine 10 times, which I'm sure you have, you already know the engine like the back of your hand. All of a sudden somebody brings in a brand new, E-Tech, you're like, oh, I don't know where to start.
You can take it somewhere else.
Hey, buddy.
Look, buddy, I'm sorry.
But then again, if you live in a neighborhood and in a town or a lake that's all they have and that's all they run, then I tell you, go get an E-Tech.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if you see there's pockets, like right now there's a trend, and I'm a little biased because I have a sponsor which is going to be at the show, that they sell Suzukis.
Mm-hmm.
And Suzuki, after the pandemic, had made it a conscious decision to have supply of boats at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
Something that's going to work and it's going to be reliable. And that reliable motor has become something that I'm seeing a lot at Black Point. Like the other day when I had somebody at the boat ramp, they're like, man, I see like for every 10 boats, they're like 6 or 7 are Suzukis.
Yeah, it's crazy. They really have taken. I wish I could get the numbers. That's something that I would like to, I don't know where to find that kind of data. And maybe MMA might have it or something, but it's like, what market share did Suzuki really take over the past 5 years? Because look, a lot.
Look, okay, so the people that I deal with is called Reliable Marine.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they were one of the number 1 repower centers, and they sold, I think, 700 and something boats. Repower could be multiple motors.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird how they do that.
So think about that on the repower level, and that's the way I see it is like that's 700 and something people seeing that motor and they like it.
Yeah,
and they're gonna tell everybody, or when they're with somebody, I like this motor.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that Honda doesn't build a fantastic motor, which they do. Mercury builds a fantastic motor, and so does Yamaha Tahatsu. I did a video, letting them all talk about their particular outboards. And even in Dusseldorf recently, I saw companies that I've never seen, even Chinese companies, and I was like, hey, I want to know about these brands and about these companies because you don't see them in the States. You never know what's going to be next, right? But yeah, that would be an interesting scenario. But I think where they understood their audience.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the price point, because you can get right now. You're talking. It's not like one engine's $3,000 less than another. It's 10, 15 grand less. Like it's a big number.
Well, think about it. Look, there's a guy that I did a video with. He's a commercial guy. He put 9,000 hours on his 250 Suzuki.
Wow.
And I saw him at the boat ramp the other day, and he's like, this one's got a year, and it's got 3,500 hours in a year.
Yeah.
So think about that. The average person won't put...
They won't put 35 in their lifetime.
35, 40, right?
Yeah.
Right? Imagine the amount of time that these guys have out on the water.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're from sun up, sun down, 7 days a week.
Now, there's also the price of not using your boat, which is what costs the most, right? Because that's going to be the biggest break. That's what's going to destroy your boat. The fact that you don't use it, right?
Yeah.
When you don't use a boat, that's just worse. It's just the worst thing you could do. It's not use it.
Yeah.
So when people ask me, hey, Alfred, what's the best boat? I say the one you're going to use.
Yeah.
If you're not going to use it, don't get a 50-foot boat or a 45-foot boat
or whatever. Yeah. Don't get a 10-foot boat. If you're not going to use it,
you're going to get the boat. Like I know my reality. My wife does not like the water. Right?
Oh no.
No, she doesn't like
Really?
it. Yeah, she's scared of it.
Oh man.
So I'm not going to get a boat for the family if she doesn't want to be out on there and the kids are just going to want to just like go and participate. Like it's more of like, hey, what's going to be suitable enough for when they want to come and what I'm going to use the most for me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be that guy that's going to go ahead and spend X amount of money to say, I have a bigger whatever than you and look at me, you know, for what? I've seen scenarios like that all the time where people are like, you know, they have this boat and they're like, I don't have it anymore. What do you have now? Oh, I got this little thing. Great. That's smart.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're using.
Yep. Yeah.
And I've done a series on my channel. And I started with a series called the Dinghy Series. And the Dinghy Series is about showing that it doesn't take much to be out on the water, to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And those moments that my kids remember are on sometimes smaller boats where we've been able to have more communication because they're close enough to talk to you. You know, you get into a big boat, they're over there, you're over here. There's no connection.
Yeah.
You want to be able to have a connection with your kid or the person you care about.
Yeah, because it's about making that memory.
It's about that.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you, somebody's going to, you will not remember the fish you caught unless it's a monster fish.
Mm-hmm.
Or they won't remember. You know, say, well, you remember your first fish? And they're like, no, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't.
And then they're going to say, I remember this moment. And you're going to be like, wow, that's such a powerful moment in their mind that I didn't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
But in their mind,
it was
it. That was the one.
Yeah, that was it.
So that's the power of boating for me. I'm worried. I'll be honest with you. I'm worried about boating, and my strategy always when I've done my YouTube channel was to encapsulate the boating world into not. If I can't catch you here, I'm going to catch you there. I'm going to catch you at the Chicho. If I can't catch you on the Chicho, I'm going to get you at the tug series. If I can't see you at the tug series, I'll catch you at the boat ramps.
Yeah.
So if I can't catch you at the boat ramps, I'll get you
at the boat
fishing, boat show, whatever. The idea was always to just go ahead and be like, who's this guy?
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, this is interesting content, this and that. But it's all about boating. And what I'm worried about and what I think a lot of the industry fails to realize is that we're going to lose market share if we don't tap into different people in the market and younger people that are not as excited as we were because of what we learned coming up. And you're going to see these boat shows are going to get really uncomfortable for people because their sales are going to come down. And then they're going to start screaming and wondering what this and that. And what happens is they've abandoned building that base.
Yeah.
That base of people that we're going to keep you in these tough times, which are those moments that we're living now. Because they were chasing the big money. Now the big money doesn't want you. It doesn't want to spend it.
Yep.
So now you got to either pivot to the small guy that wants to come in, but you haven't priced out.
I got there's two things I want to segue off of that because there's two different topics. First one, I want to support that because I know even like mechanics, right? Like boat mechanics. If you ask, 10 years ago, if you ask any boat mechanic, why are you a boat mechanic? And that's because I like the water. I like the boats.
Yeah.
That's why I do this.
Yeah.
Now I just want to work on an engine. They don't have any interest. Like I know mechanics that have no interest in boating, going on the water. None of that. Yeah, it's cool for the test drive. That's it. Like want nothing to do with the water. So it's interesting. And I do see that in some of the younger techs for that exact reason. Like they have no interest in going on the water. But then at the same time, like talking about the boat show, bringing it back to that, can someone really get a better deal buying a boat at a boat show? Or like, what's that situation look like? Like, are boat shows really worth it? Like, you go to the boat show, like, can you really get a better deal than just going to a regular dealer any day of the week?
Yes. Okay, but the most important thing at a boat show is leverage, right? You got to have leverage, and you got to know where you have leverage, right? So COVID was an anomaly. Obviously, everybody wanted to jump in and get a boat and all that stuff. And, I got the boat, you don't have a boat, whatever,
Yeah.
But you can get good deals, right? The problem with what the consumer doesn't see is that business is business and free markets work, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if I'm not selling a lot of boats, then I'm going to actually cut back on labor that helps me make these boats because I don't see the demand that's coming for these boats.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to justify the expenses and I got to cut down because I don't know what my future is going to be. But then that also puts you at a restricted scenario as a buyer because now there's not that many boats that this particular boat manufacturer has available that you want.
Right.
And you know what we don't get all the time? And we never get it back once we lose it? Our time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And sometimes the older we get, the less time we have. And people factor that into their decision.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Most people that buy boats are like, today. I want a boat today. Like, I want, I'm going to give you money today. I want the boat.
I want that boat.
Yeah. I don't want to wait 6 months.
And that's the reason. Okay, and that's the thing. So now the scenario is the following. Like, hey, because like I had a conversation with someone today, and they're like, yeah, but, I'm not really from this area, so that's why I'm not going to go to the show in Miami. But we're not going to be there this year. But and I said, well, what if the actual buyer that lives in your area comes down to the Miami show and wants the boat there because they don't want to risk not having the supply available for by the time that the boat show comes up to Palm Beach, and that's a risk that they got to take, and those risks are determined based on the financials of how the business needs to structure.
Mm-hmm.
It's no surprise that the last couple quarters in the boating world has been dire or bad, right? Mm-hmm. It's been tough. But that doesn't necessarily mean people don't want boats.
Right.
They want boats.
There's just no money.
Well,
you're battling 22% inflation and the rest of everything else. Right. So it's like,
well, you want the boat that you can be okay having at the time.
Right.
That scenario is happening in the world, right?
And every time they look at a boat, it's outside of what they got.
That's right. So, but that also puts you in a scenario where if you have leverage, and you say, hey, you have this boat, you want to sell this boat, I want to buy this boat, why don't we get to a point where it makes sense for you and it makes sense for me? Maybe that manufacturer doesn't make those margins that he was making before.
Right.
But he's going to keep his people working.
Mm-hmm.
To get to the point that he has enough time to build and keep the core people who make him successful.
Which keep the boats in production.
That's right. All of a sudden, what's going to cost you more? Now you got to retrain everybody because you cut back on that force, right? You keep, obviously, the best. And if you're a worker and you're listening, work as hard as you can because you're the hardest to replace.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones that work the best are the ones that are last to leave in most cases.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Some people will argue that, and they're going to think they all think they're the best. But the people that are leading the actual manufacturing process are going to say, this guy is super valuable in this. You can be the best worker, but you're a shitty partner when it comes to working with other people. Mm-hmm. So you're more of a detriment to the team than you are good as a worker. Mm-hmm. So a good leader will factor that in and say, hey, listen, I like you. You're a fantastic worker, but you spoil these 10 apples over here every time you come in. And it's always a problem for me. So I don't care how good you are. So those are the things that
So it's negotiation. You're saying it's negotiation. Go in there and start negotiating.
Yes. And see the comparable boats at the shows. Hey, I'm playing this guy over here. I'm playing this guy over here.
Okay.
What can you do with me? Look, this is where I'm at right here. This boat is very similar to yours. I really like your boat.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to spend $50,000 more for this same size boat because you want to brand it like this.
Yeah.
At some point, if he's too high and he loses a lot of sales to that other guy, like the Suzuki scenario,
Yep.
they're going to pivot. They're going to say, we're doing something not right. And they're going to pivot. Why? Because what's happening is they're getting weaker, and their competitor that was weak now is stronger. So think about it.
Because they're moving inventory.
That's right. And they're keeping people busy.
Yep.
And their team is happy. And all of a sudden, the lights are still on. And guess what? People start little by little. Oh, this company got bought out by this big guy. And all of a sudden now you got big conglomerates buying out these small manufacturers. And now the boat that had the name and the identity and the
prestige.
Yeah, the prestige, it's really not there anymore. It lost when it was purchased if it's not taken care of. Some manufacturers sell off and they keep that.
Yeah.
Because it's something that you work hard to keep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A good name is,
The name is everything.
Yeah.
Right? Think about it. People just buy the same boats because of the name. They're like, hey, when I was in my 20s, I always wanted to have this boat. And now I'm 55 and I'm getting later in my life and I can afford it. And that's the boat I want. And it's like, it might be the worst boat at the moment. Right?
Yeah.
But that's the one they want.
Yeah. You see that a lot with there's Contenders, Boston Whaler, Grady White, like all those, those brands.
Which are all fantastic boats.
They're all fantastic boats, but that's why, because they're a fantastic boat, you have the same guy from the time he was 30, bought one, and now he's 55, and now he's, you got 40 years of boats.
Yeah.
Chris Craft, it's
absolutely. And you see, that matters to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right? But, since I've walked these facilities and I've seen how they build these boats, and I would encourage people to watch some of my walking tours at the manufacturing plant, so you can see differences. And I always like to see the leadership, the people who are leading.
Yeah.
Because when you buy a boat, you're not just buying, in most cases, just the boat. You're buying into the family of that boat. Like
that brand.
Hey, are these people going to call when I'm stuck somewhere far from home and I have a really important question? Are they going to show up or are they going to answer the phone?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Can I get these people? So that matters, right? So for me, that is extremely important, how you build relationships. I always tell people you are your own currency, right? Because when you can do things as an individual because people want to help you and they want to be on your side, there's nobody that's going to stop you. Because anybody that gets in your way, they're going to be like, hey, we got to help Alfred. We got to help Alfred. This, Alfred is struggling right now, and they're just never going to, because you have so much currency with certain individuals because of the rapport that you've helped, When I first started doing all these walking tours, I don't get much money doing the boat shows. I don't make that we don't make a lot of money.
For how much I spend in the hotel rooms,
that's right. But the value that it creates for the people that can't make it to the show is big. Right? For that guy who says, hey, listen, I'm in the hospital right now. I really appreciate you giving me this moment to go to this show. Yeah. And I'm right now fighting for my life.
Right.
Which are emails that we've seen and I've seen, and things like that happen. So to me, those are the driving forces that make you say, you know what, this is why I do this. As much as sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do that. Because sometimes, even as a creator, you'll feel underappreciated. And you're like,
yeah, is it worth my time? Should I make this video? Should I not make it?
Yeah. I mean, I can do other videos that I know will make much more money.
Yeah.
And I'll do less time. But in the end, for me, the way I see it is my end game is, did I make boating better while I was in it? Right? Did I create an atmosphere that got it bigger to help it grow past what it is right now? Because I believe that if you have a bigger pie, it's going to be better than a small pie.
Yeah.
That's why my goal is to increase the pie. Sometimes when I speak Spanish in the Chicho and I do this and that, like there's a big Hispanic audience.
Yeah.
And I'll say it. I've emailed and sent messages to all manufacturers, and I'll say, hey, you need to be conscious about your marketing that you're presenting, because you might not think that you're making someone feel alienated, but they might. They might not make a decision on your brand because they don't feel that they're included in that brand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very powerful thing. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, this guy's taking off and this brand is taking off and I'm not taking off. What's going on? Because behind the scenes, there's people talking.
Yeah.
Whether they're dealers, like the funny thing is that everybody talks.
Yeah, especially at a boat show, because a boat show, like if you go to all these boat shows, you see a lot of the same people. As far as the vendors and all that, it's a bunch of the same people.
It's the same circle.
So like, let's say you're the first time, attendee, first time you ever been to a boat show. What would you say that someone should like prioritize? Is there like, should they check out like, a certain section, or like what do you think?
First of all, be comfortable, right? Make sure that you're comfortable, right? Dress the part for where you're going to be, right?
Yeah.
If you're in a cold area, make sure you're not going to be cold. If you're in a hot area, make sure if you're going to walk a lot, make sure you're wearing good shoes. If you're, you make yourself comfortable, right? If you know you're going to be outdoor in the docks all day, get a big hat. Get a straw hat. Get something that you're going to be comfortable. Because if you're not comfortable, you're not going to be able to appreciate the majority of the show.
Yeah.
So if you're indoors, all right, I don't need the sun coverage. I'm going to be indoors all day.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I'm going to tackle the inside of the thing. I'm going to go booth to booth. I'll do that. It's different. Like for instance,
depending on who it is.
Tomorrow I'll be at the docks, so I'm ready to walk. I'm going to be in sun and I'm going to sweat. Deodorant's a must. I'll clean socks because I'm going to take off my shoes.
Yep.
So things like that. So some people don't even know. Hey, listen, it's not their boat in most cases. It's not the manufacturer's boat at that time. Mm-hmm. It's already an owner's boat. They're just letting them borrow the boat for the boat show. So you got to give that boat as much respect as if it were yours. Mm-hmm. So if the person that's going to let you see that boat feels that you're not gonna,
they're gonna not let people on it.
They're not gonna listen. Make sure you have your shoes off. Don't go like in a lot of cases I have to take off my backpack, because even the backpack, right, when you're there, you can have a zipper or something all of a sudden gets hung up on the side of something. Now it scratches the gel coat. Like, you got to be conscious about like how hard these people have worked to make these boats perfect for this show. Plus, they're going to have to give it back to the owner. And the last thing the owner of the boat manufacturer wants to hear is the owner of the boat say, hey, my boat looks like shit, right?
Yeah, you scratched it all up. And
this is a problem, dude. Now I'm not happy. I'm never doing this again, right? Which you don't want that, right?
Right.
So those are things that I would say is have a strategy, go with the mindset of I want to target and look at this size boat because this is where I think it will fit well for me, my lifestyle, my family, and then you go from there. And then say, hey, and then from there you might say, hey, listen, these are all comparable boats. I didn't expect to like this boat, but it's so much cheaper and it's so well made.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like now you're like, hey, honey, I didn't expect this.
You got a whole new boat to look for.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now you'll start looking, you'll start doing a little bit more research. When you first initially came in, you're like, I didn't expect this. Mm-hmm. And what I would tell you is if you can get on a scenario where you can do a sea trial of the boat you want, do it. But also do it in a respectful way, knowing that that person who's dedicating that time to do that sea trial really believes you're interested in buying a boat.
Right. So
don't be that guy or gal that just wants to do a boat ride, because if you want to just do a boat ride, you can do that. Mm-hmm. There's days out there that you just go on a boat ride, do it, and you just sign up and you go and that's fine. You're more than welcome to do that. Yeah. But if you're gonna get somebody privately and tell them, hey, listen, I want to do a sea trial, make sure you really you did your homework on that boat, and you really. Breaking it down
you're signing up to be on a sales mission. It's not like that's what you're signing up for too. They're trying to sell you the boat. So like, if you're not really that interested in the boat, then,
look, and then you'll get different scenarios, right? Like, every boat's going to perform a little bit different based on the conditions it's in, right? So you also got to identify what style of boat. Like, sometimes, hey, I'm not going to tell you to go, in a certain boat out of Haulover, there's not a deep V or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Don't,
You're out there with your
bow
pontoon
rider,
boat.
or something, and all of a sudden, like, that might be great for a lake, but it's not good for open ocean, right?
Yeah.
So you got to know what you want, and there's different boats. So, like you said, you got a pontoon boat, which, you got a center console, V bottom, monohull. You have catamarans, so there's different styles of boat. You have like bay boats, which are kind of like a hybrid between a flats boat and a V bottom.
Between all the shows, are you seeing any kind of like trends as far as like there's more center consoles out there, or there's more pontoons than you used to see, or anything like electric boats or anything like that? There any?
I'm a fan of electric.
Do you see a lot more than we did, or like?
I think we're not there yet. But I do see that it's getting there. The market wants to bring that in, and it makes sense for certain applications, right? Like I can see when I was in Annapolis, I did a excuse me, a video on a boat called Candela, and it's an all electric boat, hydrofoil.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yep, yeah.
So it. I mean, I got on this electric boat, and I felt like I was floating.
Really?
And the experience that I felt was unlike anything I've ever done on the water. So I was like, wow, this is so different. I wasn't going 90 miles an hour like I can on a midnight or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But at the moment, I was like...
What do they do, like 50 or something like that? Or 40?
It did like maybe 30, 35 knots or something like that. But that wasn't even the point.
I've never been on one. I'm thinking it's probably so much smoother, I bet.
Well, the point was that it was such a pleasant ride.
Yeah.
That application would seem really right for certain areas. That I'm like, this might make sense here.
Yeah, because I'm thinking if it's got the hydrofoil in the water and it's lifting the whole boat out, you're removing a lot of the shock.
It's none of that.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, so the experience was very pleasant. And then there was another time that I was on an all electric dinghy, which had an electric outboard on there, and I mean this guy whole shot this boat, and it was like nothing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right, because it's just straight
electric,
torque,
straight power. Yeah,
straight power. So all of a sudden I'm like, wow, grinning, and I was like, wow, now I'm not going to do that for 10 hours, and I'm not going to go open ocean in that boat, right? Because I'm going to be worried about getting back.
Yeah.
Right. So every boat is going to have its application based on what you want. So I think there is going to be a market for electric, just like we're seeing it in the kayaking world. And we're seeing it also in the boats, in the smaller boats. And eventually, I think once the technology on the batteries gets even more efficient, it'll be used a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
And it might even be not just one electric aspect of it. It could be a hybrid aspect of it, like hybrid and so.
Yeah. Volvo's doing a lot of that with the diesel and electric and yeah.
So I think the future is bright. I also think that we have to be conscious that we got to grow the pie. We got to make the pie bigger.
Yeah.
As creators, we are bringing that, but it has to be as an industry. The industry has to be conscious about how do we get more people into boating. If we've priced them out because the cost to make these boats are too high, how can we bring them in? One of the things I saw while I was in Dusseldorf, one of the manufacturers when I was up there talked about a boating program, that they're going to start having a program to let people use their boats within a club, within their manufacturing program, which is smart, which makes sense, because now you introduce them into the world of, hey, this is somewhat ownership of a boat, and that will open and pave the way for that person to eventually get their own boat, if they get to that point in their life that they can afford it.
Yeah. In some ways, I think the boating industry is like, it's too old. And what I mean by that
100%.
is,
I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
No, I'm saying the thinking is old. It's this old mentality of, because here's part of the disconnect. As you're talking about this, I'm thinking of, okay, younger generation. What do people like today? How do they feel included? How do they think, like, what is the younger crowd? And then, what is the boating industry? And you think about it, it's like, and it's small things like, access to service manuals, access to dealers, access to techs, access to information is a bigger thing, really. It's access to information where, like, people are so used to, I have information. Like, I want to learn how to, tile my bathroom. I got YouTube. I want to do this. I want to do that.
University.
Yeah. Like I can learn how to do anything. I got access to any kind of information. But then when you get this boat, it's all of a sudden like there's a barrier between, you go to the dealer, you pay them money, and then, you're out into the world and that's it. Oh, my engine's messed up. Well, now what do? Well, now you got this big problem. You got to go to the dealer. You got to do this. You got to do that. There's all these hoops. And it's kind of like, well, can't I just like get some information and like, learn something? It's kind of like how Tesla does with their cars. You don't go to the dealership, do this, that, and the other. Like, they're selling everything online.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, how do you bridge the gap
and
make it?
You have to adjust to the world that we're living in, right? Like, all these young people are so connected because all they know is everything on a tablet, on a phone, right?
Yeah.
So now those moments as older boaters, right? You're like, I don't want to be called. Like, I don't want to have this new Starlink T-Mobile phone that doesn't give me that excuse to say I didn't get the call.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I want to have that T-Mobile Starlink phone so I can check my X page,
whatever,
or Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
And I can look at my, YouTube stats while I'm, 40 miles out, fishing some rig somewhere. You got to accommodate the boats for the people that are going to be on there, because once they feel involved on the boat, they're going to want to do it more.
Yeah. It's the club that you're not in. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're
that
not
game
in,
is over.
Like
it's no longer the club that you think it was.
Right.
If you want boating to be the future,
if you want it to keep growing,
if you want it to keep going, it's not the way that it was built before.
No.
The game has changed.
Same thing. Thinking about like, kind of goes back to what you're talking about with Suzuki and like, talking about 700 packages. Most of the manufacturers do that, where it's like, okay, in order to be a dealer, you got to sell transoms. It's like, okay, you got to sell 10 transoms a year to keep your XYZ dealership.
Yeah.
Well, what's that mean? Well, if I sell one transom with one engine, that's one transom. Well, if I sell one transom with 4 engines, that's one transom. Yeah. It's like, where's the thinking here? And like this whole idea of like making us so exclusive to where you're not inviting and people aren't wanting to be a part of it because they feel like they're not in the club of like, whatever your brand is. That, yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. It's
in the end, the person who's going to buy that little boat eventually is going to buy a bigger boat. Eventually they're going to buy a bigger boat. And then eventually, the idea, I mean, if that person wants the biggest boat, then they can have that, I talk to the dealers that they supply.
Yep.
And some of these dealers are like, hey, these guys don't take care of me in this way and that way. And you got to adjust and adapt to the world. Right? So if you're not adjusting to that and you're losing market share, the market is telling you you're doing something wrong. That's right.
You got to shift.
So the mindset is, it always works. It's going to work, and fine. If that's what they want to use in the end, hey, it's your business.
If you had limited time at the show, what would be the one thing you would say for someone to go check out?
Limited time.
Yeah, let's say you only got, one day and a couple hours.
Which show?
Let's say Miami Boat Show, because that's what we're doing tomorrow.
I would go to the convention center first.
Okay.
I would go to the convention center first because that's going to give you more energy to beat up the docks later. If you do it in reverse, the sun's going to beat you. The sun and the walking is going to beat you so that you won't do the convention center. And then a lot of the cool boats that you're going to want to see outside of the water are going to be at the convention center. So you have a lot of booths that are going to be able to show like really cool boats that you can see in the convention center in a comfortable setting.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard it from Alfred himself. He's gone to hundreds, if not thousands, of shows by now. So check out the convention center. Other than that, Alfred,
And
thank you for being here.
don't forget the small vendors.
Oh yeah,
Fishing sections. You know, all the small vendors that are on the second floor.
Absolutely.
Don't miss on those people and the people when you go into the show, right? Because they're very important. They also have very cool things that you might find useful either on the water or even at home sometimes.
That's perfect. You threw that in there because I was going to completely wipe over them, but that's it. That's it for it.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Hey there, sorry to take you away from the video, but real quick, did you know that on average a boat owner will spend between $1,000 and $5,000 a year just on servicing their engine? And you could actually pocket and save a lot of that money if you would just do the service yourself. It might seem like a daunting task, but I guarantee you virtually everyone can do it with our guidance and the Boaters program. This is just one skill that you could learn inside the program because we have hundreds of other videos teaching you all kinds of boating skills, as well as a weekly live stream where we have questions and answers with me, as well as a chat feature where you can send videos and pictures, ask all kinds of questions, or look for some advice or some guidance on a project that you're doing on your boat. You can join the program by hitting the first link in the description, clicking join, or visiting bornagainboating.com